how important and what should an agent expect of their manager in terms of resources, in terms of tools, in terms of support? What is the manager's role in developing the agent?
Well, that's a great question. And just as I've been talking about the ideal things an agent should be doing in the last 40 minutes, I'm going to talk about the ideal things a manager should be doing. This is things that I did when I was a manager. These are things I look for when I'm hiring managers. These are things I look for when I'm deciding whether I'm going to keep a manager in the system. And so I'm going to give you ideal situations. A manager's primary job is to be committed and focused on helping you do more, better business cost effectively so you can make a profit and serve the community well at the end of the day. So how do they do that? Well, the first way they do it is make sure that they are polished up themselves and that they're leading the pack. All the things I'm talking about today, your manager should be well versed on. They should be knowledgeable, they should be articulate, they should be passionate about what they're doing. And unfortunately, many managers and many people in the real estate business are burnt out. They don't know that they can climb these hills again because it's tough out there. And managers constantly having to go to motivate people that are depressed or having difficult situations. It's a unique position to be in. So I believe that sometimes the best thing to do is to really reassess yourself as a manager, whether you really want to do what it takes to help agents do this business. If the answer is yes, then what agents should be looking for in those managers is someone who is coaching, someone who is holding them accountable. Even if you're paying for a business coach, having your manager do that is crucial, that your manager requires that you have a business plan. I also think that you have to have a manager who is a recruiter. Even though, so why do I care if managers recruits? I want them to help me. Because recruiting is the same thing that an agent does for prospecting for new listings and new buyers and sellers. It keeps things in motion. It keeps you fresh. And so a manager has to constantly recruit. And that's new and experienced agents. It also keeps energy in the office. It keeps momentum moving forward. In addition to that, they should be doing group training classes in their offices that are segmented towards brand new agents, core agents, and then top agents. I also believe that they have to be very well versed, obviously, on legal issues and contractual issues. When an agent has an issue, they have it now. They don't want to wait 20 minutes. They don't want to wait an hour. They want you to call them on their cell phone or text them or be in your office when they have that question, and the manager better know those answers. And if the manager does not, the manager should look that agent down and say, I don't know the answer. Let's get the broker or the legal counsel on the phone. So I think what a manager should be really is it's a combination of your coach, your accountability partner, and your leader. And if you don't look at your manager as someone you respect and who is leading not only your office but the industry, then you might want to question if you're working in the right scenario. And before you leave that environment, my recommendation is you sit down with your manager and say, hey, I have some concerns. I have concerns about my business, and I have concerns about the office, and I have concerns about how you're helping me in my business. Can we talk about it? I'm a big person, a big believer in hitting things up front. And if that relationship and conversation leads to a better working relationship, great. And if it doesn't, then you should probably assess whether you're in the right office, the right manager, or the right firm.
Well, I think that's great. So in other words, summarizes your manager, this planning that we talked about at the onset of getting more business and to focus on goals, that manager needs to be there to support that happening. And how often should an agent meet with their manager?
Well, it depends on the level of business. When I was managing offices, what I recommend to my managers, you should have different schedules. Some weekly, some every other week, some once a month. And even if you have a top producer who is doing $500,000, $1 million a year in GCI or higher, having a monthly meeting at a minimum with that person, even if it's just to give them accolades, even if it's just to meet with them to tell them how great they're doing, even if it's just to assess them as to what impact they're having on the office in a positive way or a negative way. So I'm looking at those scenarios.